Figure 16. Implication of the findings. It is general practice of thesis writers to discuss the summary of the implication of their findings at the end of chapter 4, or else in the thesis. From observation, it appears that as far as research reporting is concerned, an implication consists of five elements, namely the existence of a condition. This condition is a finding discovered in the research. The condition may be favorable or unfavorable. If it's favorable, it a strength of the subject studied. If it's unfavorable, it is a weakness of the subject. For instance, in the study of the teaching of science in the high school of a province A, it is discovered that the majority of the science teachers are not qualified to teach science. This finding is unfavorable one at its weakness in the teaching of science. Probable cause of the condition. If there is a condition, there must be a cause, and there must be a logical relationship between the condition and the cause. Otherwise, the cause may not be valid one. In the example above, the logical cause of the lack of enough qualified teachers to handle science subject is that either the people responsible for recruiting teachers were not careful enough in the selection of teachers, or there are enough qualified applicants for the position of science teachers, or both. Number 3, the probable effect of the condition. Most likely, there is also a probable effect of the condition, and there must be a logical relationship between the condition of its probable effect. The logical effect of the lack of enough qualified teachers to teach science is that, taking all other thing equal, the science teacher in the high school of province A are not effective. As when all the science teachers are fully qualified, it is understandable that fully qualified teachers has more science knowledge and skills to impart to these students and non-qualified teachers. Hence, the students would suffer adversely.
So the number 4, the measure to remedy the unsatisfactory condition or to continue to strengthen the favorable one. It is a natural action to institute a measure to remedy an unfavorable situation. However, if a condition is found to be favorable, it is also a natural reaction to continue its operation and to even further strengthen it. The logical step to take to remedy the unfavorable situation is impractical to ease out the unqualified science teachers, to enjoy or require them to improve their qualification by taking evening or summer studies in science, by attending or more science seminars, or by increasing their readings in science, especially those being published in science journals, magazines, and other publications. So sa example ani, sa usa ka eskwelahan nakitaan sa principal nga daghan sa mga science teachers kulang pa og kay balo silang subject, dili praktikal nga ilasdan sila mao nga nagpatuman siya og dakang aron mag-ayok ang kahimtang. Una ginamduan ang mga tudlo nga mapil og evening classes og summer training para mapalapad ang ilang kahibalo sinsya. Ikaduha, giapil sila sa pirmi sa mga science seminar or workshop aron ma-update sa mga bag-ong pamaagi sa pagtudlo. Ikatulo, encourage sila sa pagbasa og science journal, magazines ug uban pang publication para sa mas moangat ang ilang competence. So the number 5, the entity of area involved or affected. In the example cited above, it is the teaching of science in the high school of province at that as affected. Hence, the topic for discussion should be entitled Implication of the Findings to the Teachings of Science. Some researchers use the title Implication to Education, which is too broad and vague. The area directly affected by the unfavorable or favorable conditions discovered in the study should be cited more specifically. So aduna natay usa ka example ni sa usa ka researches nga gihimo sa usa ka probinsya nasuta nga daghan sa mga high school student kulang og kasabot sa basic mathematics. Tungod kay gamay ra ang practice sa problem solving, tungod niini ang perya nga diretsong apektado mao ang pagtudlo sa mathematics sa high school level. Busa ang hustong title sa discussion mao ang Application of the Findings to the Teaching of Mathematics in the high school. Dili angay gamiton ang title application to education kay sobra ka lapad og dili klaro og dili niya gituok ang usa ka gyud nga apektadong parte. Ang researcher kinahanglan klaro maingon usa ka specific area nga igo findings sa maong kaso pagtulo sa mathematics dili ang tanang aspeto sa edukasyon.
Chapter 5: Summary, Conclusion, and Recommendation. This is the last chapter of the thesis and the most important part because it is here where the findings and the whole thesis for that matter are summarized. Generalization is the form of conclusion are made and the recommendation for the solution of problem discovered in the study are addressed to those concerned. Summary of the findings guidelines in writing the summary of findings. The following should be characteristics of the summary of findings.
1. There should be a brief statement about the main purpose of the study, the population of respondents, the period of the study, method of research used, the research instrument, and a sampling design. There should be no explanations made. Example: using hypothetical study of teaching science in the high school of Province A. This study was conducted for a purpose of determining the status of teaching science in the high schools of Province A. The descriptive method of research was utilized and the normative survey technique was used for gathering data. The questionnaires serve as an instrument for collecting data. All the teachers handling science and 20% representative sample of students were the respondents. The inquiry was conducted during the high school year 1989 to 1990. So, this slide is describing how to write the statement of the research methodology or the research design overview. In this research paper, this part usually appears in the methodology chapter of the study. The slide saying is when writing this part, you need to exclude 6 elements in short, straightforward paragraph like number 1, purpose of the study. The purpose of the study is what the research aims to find out. Number 2 is population of the respondents or who or what group is being studied. When the research was conducted. Number 3, period of the study when the research was conducted. Number 4, method of research used. Example, descriptive method, experimental method, or qualitative method, or etc. Number 5 is research instrument. So this research instrument was tools used to collect data, example survey, questionnaire, interview, and guide. Number 6, sampling design. The sampling design is how the participants were selected randomly, randomly sampling, purposive sampling, etc. And the purpose of determining the status of teaching science, population, teachers handling science, and 20% sample of students. So the method is descriptive method. The techniques is normative survey. Instrument is questionnaire. Sampling design is 20%. Representative sample. The period of school year is 1989 to 1990. So, in the simple terms, the topic teaches students how to properly write the method overview paragraph in the research. Number 2. The findings may be lumped up all together but clearly demands that each specific question under the statement of the problem must be written first to be followed by the findings that would be answered. The specific questions should follow the orderly they are given under the statement of the problem. Example, How qualified are the teachers handling science in high schools of Province A? Of the 59 teachers, 31 or 53.54% were BSc graduates and 3 or 5.08% were MA degree holders. The rest, 25 or 42.37% were non-BSc baccalaureate degree holders with at least 18 education units, less than half of all the teachers. Only 27 or 45.76% were science majors, and the majority, 32 or 54.24% were non-science majors. So, this slide explains how to properly present the findings of the study in a research paper. In research, the findings chapter contains the answer your research questions. This action must be organized, clear, and directly connected to the statement of the problem. So, the main point of the slide says that although you can write all your findings together, it is must clearly if you present them question by question, meaning for every research question you write exact research question, then second, write the findings that answer that question. You must present them in the same orders as the question in your statement of the problem. And this ensure clarity, organization, and directly alignment with your objectives. Why this approach is important? 1. Avoid confusions is the reader can easily see which findings answer which questions. Second is show alignment with the research problem. It involves that you are address all your objectives. Number 3 is make the result easy to interpret. Teacher, evaluators, or panelists can follow along logically. So the research questions. How qualified are the teachers handling science in the high school of the province A? So our findings is the paragraph then answer the question with a statistic about the teacher qualification is 53.54% are BSc graduates. So the ME degrees have 5.08%. Are the non-BSc degrees holders with the less 18 education is 42.37%. Only 45.76 are science majors. Our non-science majors is 54.24. These numbers directly answer the research questions about teaching qualification. In the simple terms, write each research questions, then immediately present the findings that answer that questions. So follow the same orders as your research question. This make your result clear, organized, and easy to understand. Number 3. The finding should be textual generalizations, that is a summary of the important data consisting of text and numbers. Every statement of fact should consist of words, number, or statistical measure woven into a meaningful statement. No deduction, nor interface, nor interference, nor interpretation should be made, otherwise it will only be duplicated in the conclusion. See the example of number 2 just above. So number 3 is finding must be textual generalization. So in presenting findings, the researcher should create textual generalizations, meaning short summaries that combine important data, words, and numerical information into meaningful statements. So each statement must be factual and supported by numbers or statistical results. It should present what the data shows, not what the researchers think. It means no conclusions, no interpretations, no guessing or inferencing. Those belong in the conclusion section. If interpretation are included here, they will be only be repeated later. In other words, the finding section is strictly for reporting what the data says, not what the researchers concludes from it. And number 4, only the important findings, the highlight of the data, should be included in the summary, especially those upon which the conclusions should be based. So, number 4, number 4 is only important findings must appear in the summary. The summary portion should contain only the highlight, the most important result of the study. This includes the data that directly answer the research questions and key numbers that supported later conclusions. So, 3. Major patterns or significant findings. This summary must not list every small detail. Instead, it must present essential information that will serve as the basis of the conclusions and recommended. So think think of it as the main takeaway of the study. So number 5, findings are not explained nor elaborated upon anymore. They should be stated as concisely as possible. This this number 5 is findings should not be explained or elaborated further. Lastly, this is the last. The findings should be presented briefly and concisely. The researcher must avoid long discussions, explanations, or interpretations. The finding section should be direct, clear, straight to the point. So its purpose is simply simply to show the results, nothing more. Discussion, explanation, and interpretations come later in the study. For my summary as reporter, to conclude, findings must be presented clearly and objectively. They should be written as factual summaries with numerical support, containing only the most important data. No explanations should be added because interpretation belongs in the conclusion, not into the finding. These structures ensure that research results are organized, easy to follow, and academical stance. So that's all my report.
Some dangers to avoid in drawing or conclusion based on quantitative data. There are some pitfalls or avoid the use of quantitative data. Researchers should not accept nor utilize quantitative data without question or analyzed even they are presented in authoritative looking forms. This is so because in some instances quantitative data are either inaccurate or misleading either willingly or by design. The data should be analyzed very critically to avoid misleading interpretation and conclusion. Among the factors that our researchers should guard against the following: dangers to avoid making conclusion from qualitative data. Qualitative data can be pitfalls even though qualitative data looks scientific or precise, it can still contain errors, be complete, or be misleading. Do not accept the data without questioning. Research should not automatically trust numerical data because it appears in a chart, table, graph, or other professional-looking formats. Data can be inaccurate or misleading. Sometimes the numbers were collected inaccurately, were manipulated, or designed to mislead people. Analyze data critically. Research need an examine to and evaluate number carefully. Avoid wrong interpretation and wrong conclusion. It means they should always check at data complete, accurate, and valid. Be aware common dangers. The passage says there are several specific dangers or factors research can guard against the interpreting qualitative data. Bias. Business establishment, agencies, or organizations usually present or manipulate figures to their favor. For instance, an advertisement may quote statistic to show the given product is superior to many other leading brands. We should worry to the use of the statistic in this case because of the behavior profit motivate behind, and individuals may also do the same. A respondent of a questionnaire is an interview may comment on the same bias to protect his own interest, like a case of science teacher in high school of province A. A respondent has that the science facilities in their respective 245 schools are adequate through they are not adequate just protect their names in their own school. A respondent, if asked how many science books he has read, may say that he was read many through he was read only a few to the product his name. Hence, if there is a way of the checking the veracity of the presented data by investigation, observation, or otherwise, he should done to ensure accuracy of the conclusion based upon the data under consideration. So dinhi nagisgot bahin sa bias o pag-interpreter sa mga datos labi na sa mga research o mga survey nga gihimo sa mga organisasyon o sa individual or sa mga student. Ipasimugda kini kung yun sa ang bias mga tuis ba sa mga resulta o pamugos ang importansya sa pag-verify sa tukma sa mga datos. So bias means ano yan, datos nga mahimong tinuyo or gitudo sa personal o organizational sa mga interest.
Number 2, incorrect generalization. An incorrect generalization is made when there is a limited body of information or where the sample is not representative of the population. Takes this case, the Alumni Association of a big university would like to conduct a survey to determine the average income of the alumni during their first 10 years after graduation. Though the total of number of returns may meet the sample size requirement, the population may not be properly represented by the actual composition of the sample. This is likely to happen because chances are that a great majority of the alumni in the high income bracket will respond readily, but the great majority of those who are not doing well may ignore the survey by reason of pride. In such a case, the high income group is overrepresented and low income group is underrepresented in the sample, resulting in the overestimate of the average income of the entire alumni group. This is the result of a built-in sample bias. Number 3, incorrect deduction. Happens when a general rule is applied to a specific case. Suppose there is a finding that the science facilities in the high school of province A are inadequate. We cannot conclude at once that any particular tool or equipment is definitely inadequate. Suppose there is an oversupply of test tubes. Hence, to make the conclusion that all science equipment and tools in high school of province A are inadequate is an incorrect deduction in this case.
Comparison. A basic error in statistical work is to compare two things that are not really comparable. Again, let us go to high school of province A, suppose in the survey. School C has been found to have 20 microscopes and school D has only 8. We may conclude immediately that school C is better equipped with microscope than school D. However, upon further inquiry, school C has 1,500 students while school D has only 500 students. Hence, the ratio in school C is 75 students is the 1 microscope, while in the school D, the ratio is 63 students to 1 microscope. Hence, School D is better equipped with microscopes than School C. To conclude that School C is better equipped with microscopes than School D based on the number of the microscope owned by each school is incorrect comparison. This error happens when we compare two things without considering important factors. Example, School C has 20 microscopes and School D has 8. So we might think School C is better, but School C has 1,500 students while School D has only 500. When we check the ratio, School D actually has fewer students per microscope, meaning it is better equipped, so comparing only the number of microscopes is wrong because it ignores the number of students. 5. Abuse of correlation data. A correlation study may show a high degree of association between two variables. They may move in the same direction at the same rate, but it is not right to conclude at once that one is the cause of the other unless confirmed so by other studies. In no case does correlation show causal relationship. When the government increases the price of gasoline, the prices of commodities also start to rise. We cannot conclude immediately that the increase in price of gasoline is the sole cause of the increase in the price of commodities. There are other causes to be considered such as shortage or undersupply of the commodities, increased cost of production, panic buying, etc. To be able to make a conclusive statement as to what is or what are the real causes of the increases in prices of commodities, an intensive investigation is needed. Correlation means two things change together, but it does not mean one causes the other. When gasoline prices go up, store prices may also rise, but many other reasons could be involved. More investigation is needed to find the real cause. 6. Limited information furnished by any one ratio. A ratio shows only a partial picture in most analytical work. Suppose the only information that at a certain time, another college also advertised that 100% of its graduates who took the same examination passed. From this announcement, we may form the impression that the standard of instruction in the two colleges is high. Actually, only 4 graduates from the first college took the CPA licensing examination and 3 happened to pass. In the second college, only one of its graduates took the same examination and he happened to pass. To avoid making false impression by making conclusions using ratios concerning variables of very small magnitudes, use the original data because the relationship is clear even without the use of a ratio. In the first college, we may say that 3 out of the 4 graduates who took the CPA test passed, and of the second college, we may say that the 1 graduate who took the same test passed. Ratios can be confusing when the numbers are very small. Even if both colleges have a 100% passing rate, the first school had 4 test takers and the second had only 1. Using only the ratio can give a wrong impression, so looking at the actual numbers is better.
Recommendations, guidelines in writing the recommendations. Recommendations are appeal to people or entities concerned to solve or help solve the problems discovered in the inquiry. They should have the following characteristics. Recommendation are suggestion or proposal for a course of action to address a problem or improve the situation. They are typically based on research, analysis, or expertise, and they are intended to provide a solution or alternative solution to challenge or opportunity. 1. As mentioned above, recommendations should aim to solve or help solve problems discovered in the investigation. For instance, one problem discovered in the inquiry about the teaching of science in the high school of province A is a lack of adequate facilities. Hence, the recommendation is for the schools or acquire more facilities. Surely, this will solve or help solve the problems of lack of adequate facilities. For example, problems.
Students in a high school have limited access to reading materials, hindering their academics performance. Recommendation: the school should acquire more books and educational resources to improve. 2. No recommendation should be made for a problem or anything for that matter that has been not discovered or discussed in the study. Recommendation for things not discussed in the study are irrelevant. Means no recommendation for undiscovered problems. Recommendation should only address problem identified in the study. For example, if the study found indicate teacher training, recommended additional training programs. 3. There may also be a recommendation for a continuance of a good practice or system. Even the recommendation for its improvement, this is to ensure a continuous benefit being accorded to the university involved. Recommendations for good practices means suggest continuing or improve existing effective practices. For example, if the study found a successful mentorship programs, recommended expanding it to more students. 4. Recommendations should aim for the ideal, but they must be feasible, practical, sustainable. It is useless to recommend the impossible. This, of course, depends upon the situation. For a big university of 10,000 students, it will be easy to recommend the purchase of generator as a safeguard against burnouts. But for a small private high school of only 200 students, this may not be feasible. Feasible and practical recommendations means recommendations should be realistic and achievable given the resources and context. For example, for a small school, recommend energy efficient lighting instead of a generator. 5. Recommendation should be logical and valid. If the problem is the lack of facilities, it is only logical to recommend the acquisition of the lacking facilities. Logical and valid recommendation means recommendation should be based on the problem identified and addressed then directly. For example, problem: lack of facilities. Recommendation: acquire the lacking facilities. 6. Recommendation should be addressed to the person, entities, agencies, or offices who are which are in a position of implementing them. Example: suppose one problem discovered in the lack of science facilities. The recommendation should be the school principal through the division supreme student should make a orient petition to the proper government authorities to purchase adequate science equipment for the high schools. For private schools, their petitions should be directed to their respective boards of trustees. Recommendation addressed to relevant entities means recommendation should be directed to those who can implement them. 7. There should be a recommendation for further research on the same topic in other places to verify, amplify, or negate the findings of the study. This is necessary so that if the findings are the same, generalization of wider application can be formulated. Recommendation for further research means recommendation should include further studies to verify, amplify, or negate the findings. For example, further research should be conducted in other provinces to verify findings of this study on.
For recommending similar searches to be conducted, the recommendation should be: it is recommended that similar searches should be conducted in the other places. Other provinces should also make inquiries into the status of the teaching of science in their own high schools so that if similar problems and differences are found, certain effort may be exerted to improve science teaching in all high schools in the country. So, this means that it is more suggested to similar studies to be done in some other areas. And I have an examples of this paragraph that says that some other province should be check how those science had to do in their high schools. So this means that if they have find some problems or weakness so that they can work together to improve the science education across the high schools in the country. Evaluation of a thesis or dissertation generally, a thesis or dissertation has to be defended before a panel or examiner and then submitted to the proper authorities for acceptance as a piece of scholarly work. Hence, there should be some guidelines in evaluating a thesis or dissertation. The following are offered to be the general criteria in judging the worthiness of a thesis or dissertation. So, this sentence means that before a thesis or dissertation is accepted as a scholar work, a student must defend it in the front of a penless of examiner and after it is submitted to the proper authorities for approve and to make it sure the work is worthy. There will be a certain guidelines or criteria that to be used to evaluate it.
I discussed the four subject and the problems. 1. Is the subject significant, timely, and of current issue? This means that if you are researching a climate change, it would be a significant because if it could affect everyone and it is very current global issue. So this example says that you can choose the topic that matters how and has an impact on people or society. 2. Is it clearly climate but big enough for making valid generalization? So this means that your topic should be focused but not too much narrow so that your finding can apply beyond it in one case. 3. In the title appropriate for the subject. The number there is thinking about how the title should be clearly effect or reflect what your study is so that the readers can have what to expect. 4. Are the sub-problems specific, clear, and unequivocal? This topic focuses on how you can break down your main problem into smaller, clear, and understandable questions. And I discussed the four design of the study. 1. Is the research methodology appropriate? So this focus on how you pick the methods that could help you are best and how you would answer your research questions accurately. Some example of this is how would you use survey to measure the employees' satisfaction? 2. Is the design clear and in accordance with the scientific method of research? So, if your study should follow the logical step, so that means it will be easy to follow. And an example of this is how I feel like having a clear step-by-step process or plan. 3. Is the report prepared carefully following acceptable format and mechanics? This topic is focused on how you present your finding or how could you make it professionally so that your reader can understand and trust your own. 4. Are the documentation adequate and properly done? This sentence is also focused on how you keep throughout your record or the everything you use or did in your research. So to make it more understandable, then is an example that says that any data sources in an interview or survey, and I discussed the three
data findings, and 4 conclusion, generalization, and 4 recommendation. Data findings. Number 1. Are the data inadequate, valid, and reliable? This means that if you're checking your data collected with only is enough accurately and consistent. For example, if, if you survey only 5 people, the data will might be not enough. But if your survey is more or less 150 from the different, the data will be reliable and valid. 2. Are the analyzed carefully and correctly treated statistically? So after you collecting data, it will be needed to be analyzed properly by using the night way in using the satisfactory methods. 3. Are the interpreted correctly and adequately? This means that understanding what the data really says, that without exaggerating for missing point. For example, if there is 70% prepare people apples, that says most be the people prepare apples is correct, but using everyone prepares apples is not. Conclusion relation. 1. Are the conclusion based upon the finding? This means that the conclusion should come directly from the data collected. 2. Do they answer the specific questions raised at the beginning of the investigation? So the possible truth of this is most directly answer of the research question you started with. For example, if you ask, does music help studying? The conclusion should answer that, not something unrelated. 3. Are there logical and valid outcomes of the study? So means that the conclusion you give must be make sense and be supported by the data collected. And 4. Are they state concisely and clearly and limited only to the subject or the study? So most conditions should be brief and only about the study's topic and avoid adding unreacted information. Recommendation 1. Are the recommendations based upon the findings and conclusions? This means that your suggestion should more come from what the data and conclusion shows. 2. Are they feasible, practical, and attainable? Your recommendation should be realistic and easy to do. 3. Are they action oriented? This focus on recommendation what should suggest clear action to fix problem and improve situations. 4. Are they limited only to the subject of the study but recommend further research on the same subject? It focuses on stick to study topic that can help you explore more of the research. And that will be all to my report. Thank you.